This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro Insight for the week of October 28th, 2024. Complicated but incredibly productive week. We are assimilating, processing, and coming up with how we're going to deal with, and to an extent, moving on from a several-month complicated dance that the three outer planets have been doing since the beginning of September. Uranus, agent of radical awakening change. Neptune, cosmic fog machine and font of divine wisdom. And Pluto, agent of unavoidable evolutionary level change. The three of them have been in a collaboration and are still in a collaboration that is maximizing, heightening, amplifying, wrapping up of multiple cycles dating back to various time periods as early as 2008, dredging up more corruption, showing us where there are fault lines and collapses in our own infrastructures and foundations, bringing up stuff that has ancestral components to it, showing us gaslighting and lies, inviting us to forgive and zapping our view of all kinds of things. And this week, our minds, our information systems, our communication vehicles, and also our drive, how we push ourselves forward, both of those, all of those, finish interacting with this process and move into a different, freer, more exciting, more energized form. This coincides with the spookiest week of the year, which is also a high party vibe week. Isn't that interesting? Halloween falls in the middle of it, and this is tailor-made. And in fact, you will find that the Halloween sense in the air will continue into the weekend. Parties will continue. Decorations will not be coming down. People will still be dressing up more than they usually do. Here's an analogy for what we're doing. It is like we're about to leave home to go to college far away. And we're going through our belongings and things about our lives and trying to figure out what is coming along with us. And in the process of the packing, we learn that we can't just leave everything else at home, that the home situation is not going to be able to store and accommodate all our belongings, so we have to go through and figure out what is most precious. And we're identifying to an extent which connections are going to fit us in our new life. We're all about to go through a doorway that doesn't have room for us to take everything and move into a place where a lot of situations, presumptions, assumptions, actual connections, actual belongings that we've had in our lives are not going to fit. So this is a rapid week of dealing with a lot of it all of a sudden. It'll seem that way, but really we've been grappling with it for multiple weeks. And now the process quickens. This week starts with what for some of us is going to be divinely inspired action, magic happening, being at the right place at the right time, situations simply unfolding just by virtue of you being there, not even needing to push a button. It could also have men amplifying the gaslighting and the lying. That is possible. Mars will be trining Neptune on the 28th. Interestingly, there is a caution to behave responsibly, to behave maturely, to treat what you value with respect. Venus is squaring Saturn on that day as well, and that is a put a ring on it vibe. Doesn't mean getting engaged, doesn't mean getting married, but putting structure and confining in some way, containing in some way desires, creativity, relationships. Then we very quickly move into Mercury running the gauntlet of the outer planets. A lot of information, a lot of talk, a lot of messages, a lot of thinking, a lot of stuff flying out of your mouth that will be processing everything that we've been going through and sorting through the last couple of months, and as a part of that, the last couple of decades almost, and figuring out what is going to go along. It begins on the 30th with Mercury in an opposition to Uranus, which could have us staring down some really uncomfortable information, having our views on certain situations challenged, seeing things that we would like to have move in a different direction and it not really being quite time for it to happen. By Halloween, the next day, the 31st, Mercury is in the same easy flow with Neptune that Mars was at the beginning of the week, and insight just flies, guidance just flies, information flies from over the veil. This is a terrific, spooky, non-verbal, non-logical time of communication, of simply knowing, of looking at something and then just getting and grokking it without your mind being able to put it into words, passing information back and forth, again, without words. Massive telepathy, and a really magical vibe for Halloween. We shift over into November with a new moon in the sign of Scorpio, distilling all of the below the surface perceptions that we've been working with, that we've been picking up, and locking that into a way of being that is going to unfold for some time. As the moon begins to grow, Mercury and Mars team effortlessly. They are in a trine. And if you like, you can think of this week as having a grand trine, flowing from our minds to our drive and to something much higher than ourselves. This is a potent recipe for magic, for inspiration. I guess manifesting is one way to look at this, making things happen without going step by step by step. At the same time, Mercury and Mars are both teeing up for their final contacts with Pluto in Capricorn. So their role in our existences is hitting its maximum, most extreme form. Mercury is in an opportunity aspect with Pluto on the 2nd. Secrets are there for the having, for the asking. This is a wonderful time to look into questions that date as far back as 2008 when Pluto first moved into Capricorn. It's a formula for being incredibly candid with yourself and other people, and people being amenable to hard, fiercely honest, clarifying exchanges. And then we all just want to laugh and have a good time. Mercury moves into Sagittarius, where Venus already is, heightening our ability to see the big picture, to find the humor in things, to make light, to run around, and also, gotta warn you, look at things not just philosophically, but with a political perspective. So just keep in mind, not everybody's gonna share your beliefs, and if you go trying to shove yours down someone's throat, well, might not go so well, because Mars is making its final contact to Pluto, god of war, opposing the god of death, at the very, very last degrees of home-loving Cancer and institutions and the status quo. Best case scenario, you're going to learn something about your family and your ancestral line, your own family dynamics that you can then move on from, break from. But Just know something massive, extreme is coming from this. And we have lived through Mars opposing Pluto multiple times, but not with each of them at the final degree of the sign for the last time in our lifetimes. So this is a speak now or forever hold your peace type moment. Pick your battles incredibly carefully. As soon as Mars pulls away from this opposition, he moves into Leo, which is extraordinarily self-oriented, highly dramatic, highly energized, energizing. This is, I gotta be me. It's the sign of the child and self-expression. With Mercury joining Venus in fiery Sagittarius, good time zone, and Mars moving into playful Leo by the weekend, parties are just going to continue. Why not? You know, there's so much seriousness in the air and so much that is deep and potent going on constantly that letting off some steam and having some fun and reminding yourself why you are alive might be just what you need to do this weekend. And in fact, underscoring that potential, the two influences of utter indulgence are in a challenging relationship with each other. Venus opposes Jupiter. We're going to want more. So, hang out with your friends, watch all the movies, binge all the shows, and probably eat all the candy, okay? It's just gonna be your outlet. You've worked hard. You've been grappling with years of change and disillusioning and dissolving and restructuring and reworking so intensely, and you have put things into a new form. Go have some fun. Homing thought of the week, held over from last week, trust your gut. Song of the week, every spooky, witchy song you can think of. And Sam Cooke, a change is going to come. And the image of the week is a bat. You'll learn more about this in my forecasts for the month of November and the Scorpio new moon, which are already up at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years experience. I am doing a Halloween Spooktacular YouTube Live on my channel on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern with Annette Dion. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, including a look at Mars in Cancer and then Leo and then his retrograde and how that interlocks with the coming Mercury retrogrades, plural. And I am deeply grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host conversation on Facebook, on the page Empowerment Unlimited, and in the group The Astro Insight Lounge. I post on Instagram and Threads at K.A. Biehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.